Jerusalem.
Jerusalem, a city sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. In 637 CE, it changed hands, from the rule of the Byzantine Empire to that of the Rashidun Caliphate under Umar ibn al-Khattab. What happened in that moment? Why did it matter? What were the immediate and long-term consequences? In this video, we'll walk through the lead-up to the siege, the key players, the siege and surrender itself, the treaty and its implications, and the legacy for Jerusalem and the wider region. In the early 7th century, the Byzantine Empire controlled Jerusalem. Under Byzantine rule, the city was highly Christianized. It had been refashioned as a Christian pilgrimage center. Meanwhile, on the Arabian Peninsula, the message of Muhammad died. 632 had transformed the political and religious landscape. After Muhammad's death, the Rashidun Caliphate, first under Abu Bakr, 632 to 634, and then Umar, 634 to 644, began major territorial expansion. The conflict with Byzantium was one part of a broader wave of early Muslim expansion, known often as the Arab-Byzantine Wars. A major milestone was the Battle of Yarmouk in August 636, where the Muslim forces decisively defeated the Byzantine army in Syria. That victory opened the way into the Levant and set the stage for the capture of cities like Damascus, Jerusalem, and beyond. By late 636, the Muslim armies were advancing into territories under Byzantine control. The Byzantine hold was weakening. With that background, Jerusalem became a key strategic and symbolic objective. Jerusalem was not just another city, it had religious, cultural, and strategic importance. For the Byzantines, it was a major Christian center. For the Muslims, it was resonate with prophecies and traditions, such as the Isra and Miraj, the night journey of Muhammad. Capturing Jerusalem would offer a major psychological boost to Muslim forces, control of a major city in the Levant, and a statement of religious legitimacy. It also held tactical value. By controlling Jerusalem, the Muslim forces could consolidate their hold on Palestine and press further into the Levant. So when the Rashidun commanders targeted Jerusalem, they knew they were not only seizing land, they were seizing symbols. The siege of Jerusalem is usually dated from November 636 to around April 637. Some sources say into 638. The Muslim army, under the broad command of Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, with prominent generals such as Khalid ibn al-Walid, surrounded Jerusalem. By besieging the city, cutting supply lines, controlling the surrounding countryside, the Byzantines and their Christian inhabitants faced increasing pressure. One account speaks of partitioning camels and tying them as fortifications around the tents of the Muslim camp to secure the siege perimeter. Inside Jerusalem, Sophronius, the Patriarch of Jerusalem and representative of Byzantine Christian authority, was in charge of the city's defense and negotiations. The situation for Byzantium was precarious. Their forces had suffered major losses, their empire was stretched, and the Levant was no longer firmly under their control. The fall of Syria had already chipped away at their regional strength. The terms of the surrender are often referred to as the Pact of Umar or Treaty of Umar. In essence, the treaty declared the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Christians and later Jews, would receive assurance of safety, aman, for lives, property, churches, crosses, rituals. Their churches would not be inhabited by Muslims, not destroyed. They would pay taxes similar to others, yet retain religious practice. Importantly for Jerusalem, the treaty codified a model of governance under Muslim rule that preserved a level of religious pluralism and local autonomy. Some historians argue it stands among the early examples of religious protection in a conquered city. This arrangement laid the groundwork for how Jerusalem would be governed under Muslim rule for centuries. After the capture, the city became part of the Rashidun Caliphate's domain. For the next several centuries, Jerusalem remained under Muslim rule, with different dynasties, until the First Crusade in 1099. Under Muslim governance, Jerusalem retained significant Christian population and influence. Many local Christians remained in place, worshiping their faith. The incoming Muslim rulers did not initiate large-scale expulsions or forced conversions. Over time, important Islamic monuments would be built in Jerusalem and its environs. The Dome of the Rock, completed 691 CE, expansion of the area around the Al-Aqsa Mosque, etc. In short, the conquest marked a shift in political and religious control, but not an abrupt or total cultural reset. Jerusalem continued to be a multi-faith city, though under new rulers. What does the 637 capture of Jerusalem tell us? Here are a few points. Strategic. Capturing Jerusalem cemented Muslim control over Palestine, Levant, removing a major Byzantine foothold and allowing further consolidation north and east. Symbolic. The city's significance amplified the legitimacy of the Rashidun Caliphate. It signaled that Muslim rule was extending into formerly major Christian centers. Governance model. The treaty set a precedent for how cities would be treated under Muslim rule. Local peoples, religious minorities protected under terms, albeit under tribute. Religious coexistence. While certainly not free of tension, the relatively peaceful transfer, by comparison to many sieges, and retention of Christian rights in Jerusalem is noteworthy. Some historians highlight this as a contrast to other episodes of conquest. Long-term legacy. Jerusalem's status as a holy city for three religions, placed within a Muslim-ruled polity, contributed to the complex history of the city. The period of Muslim rule that followed shaped architecture, demographics, pilgrimage, politics. The fall of Jerusalem in 637 cannot be seen in isolation. It followed the Battle of Yarmouk, 636, and precedes further Muslim campaigns deeper into the Byzantine territories. With Syria, Palestine, and much of the Levant coming under Muslim rule, the Byzantine Empire lost significant eastern provinces. For the Muslim side, gaining Jerusalem offered not only territorial expansion, but a shift from desert-based polity to one more urban, administrative, and multi-religious. Jerusalem became one of several major centers in the Islamic world. Meanwhile, for the Byzantine side, losing Jerusalem and much of Syria, Palestine, meant adapting to a new geopolitical reality. Their east frontier had been severely compromised, and the Christian-Muslim frontier was now quite literally at the gates of formerly solid imperial territories. For the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Christians, Jews, and the incoming Muslims, a number of concrete changes unfolded. The Christian community found itself under new authority, but allowed to continue worshiping, keeping their churches, crosses, and rituals under the terms of the treaty. Muslims now held political and military authority. Administrative structures gradually shifted to Arabic language, Muslim governance, Islamic legal frameworks. Jews, after centuries of restrictions, gradually began to return to Jerusalem under Muslim rule, although their exact numbers and rights varied over time. Over time, Muslim institutions, mosques, and pilgrim infrastructure were built or expanded in and around Jerusalem, giving the city an added layer of Islamic identity. Jerusalem remained under Muslim control. Various dynasties, Rashidun, Umayyad, Abbasid, Fatimid, etc., until 1099. The concept of shared sacred space in Jerusalem took on new intricacy. Muslims had their sacred locations. Christians continued theirs. Jews gradually retook presence. Jerusalem became not just a city of conquest, but a city of layered identities. The capture in 637 is a major turning point. From Byzantine Christian rule to Muslim rule, it set in motion the medieval history of Jerusalem as a focus of pilgrimage, politics, and religious complexity. Let's recap. The Byzantine Empire held Jerusalem. The Rashidun Caliphate, riding a wave of victories, laid siege to the city in late 636. The siege ended around early 637, when the city surrendered under the condition that Caliph Umar accept the surrender. The Treaty of Umar established terms protecting local religious communities while installing Muslim rule. The capture of Jerusalem signaled a shift in power in the Levant, established a model for governance under Muslim rule, and began a long period in which Jerusalem would be under Muslim political control. Here's the thing. It wasn't just a military victory, it was a transformation of who ruled, of how cities were governed, of how faiths interacted in one of the most contested, revered places on earth. Understanding this moment helps us understand why Jerusalem is such a potent symbol today, and how history's long arcs bend through cities, religions, and empires.